Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Orlando Ruiz Jr. This is my review of The Apartment, one of my favorite all-time comedies. This film stars Jack Lemmon, Fred MacMurray, Shirley MacLaine. All these actors are terrific in this film. Fred MacMurray was in another great film from director Billy Wilder, Double Indemnity. Billy Wilder also directed this film, in addition to some other movies I've talked about on this channel, movies like Sunset Boulevard, The Lost Weekend. So check those reviews out if you're interested. Billy Wilder is one of my favorite directors. He was a director that could do anything from the dramatic to the comedic, as this movie will display. And what I love about this movie is it is not a sort of generic, standard, cookie cutter romantic comedy. There are adult themes in this film that not many directors would have tackled at this time. But this movie was coming out at the end of the 50s and the beginning of the 60s. And there are themes in this movie of adultery, of drug use, and themes that are expertly handled by this sort of great kind of this high caliber of a director. So this kind of movie I don't think would have been released 10 years prior to this, but 5 years after this was sort of the new standard, because this was one of those films that, with its sort of expertly handled adult themes, sort of broke ground for these kind of themes to become just standard fare in movies. So I give a lot of credit to Billy Wilder. He was one of those trailblazing directors in that respect. Groundbreaking storytellers who was always pushing boundaries. And I really enjoy this movie, not just because of well, there are so many funny moments in the movie. It is a comedy. It makes me laugh. But I am really sort of touched by the story here. There is a great character arc with our main characters, played by Jack Lemmon in the role of C.C. Baxter. He is a guy that, at the beginning of the movie, doesn't have much of a spine. He's, for the most part, letting other people, his coworkers, use his place as a place to hook up. So his place is pretty much kind of like a Motel 6 for the most part. He lets his coworkers do their business with anyone they pretty much want. And, you know, they finish up their little hanky-panky, their ooh la la. They come downstairs, and a lot of the times he's waiting outside in the cold, waiting for them to finish up. And then he goes back upstairs into his apartment and has to clean up the mess. So I feel sorry for this guy whenever I watch this film, but Jack Lemmon is so great and does such a great job at displaying a guy that, even though he's having a tough time, you can tell he's dealing with it, he's adjusting, he sort of accepts it, and at the same time, he wants to better his situation. And throughout the film, slowly starts to grow more of a spine, which I always enjoy watching. I like movies about guys that, or characters, any kind of character that has sort of a development and a growth, and learn something, and, you know, in turn, the audience can learn something about themselves. So I also really enjoy his chemistry between his character and the character of Fran, played by Shirley MacLaine. They have some really great dialogue, very clever, witty banter all throughout the film. It's very engaging. You can tell there was a real spark between these two. I wonder if there was something going on behind the camera. As a matter of fact, that's how good their chemistry is in the film. And the relationship there slowly develops, which is nice to see, given that he is, for the most part, a single guy, and she happens to be the boss's mistress. So it gets really complicated when Fred MacMurray, the boss, asks Jack Lemmon's character, Bud, to use his spot for one night with the girl that he happens to like. So yeah, and he's also he's also stringing her along, keeps telling her that he's gonna leave her, that he's gonna leave, sorry, that he's gonna leave his wife for her, his wife and kids, basically. He's a guy with a wife, and he has a family, fucking around with, you know, the elevator girl, and taking advantage of, you know, good guys like Jack Lemmon in the movie. So yeah, for the most part, Fred MacMurray is the antagonist of the film, but still very kind of smooth, as Fred MacMurray tends to be. And and because of that, he's likable to some degree, but still he plays sort of a douchebag, and he's very good at it too. And the uh, the actors in the movie all give this material in terms of how great they all are. They all pretty much give top-notch performances, and I really enjoyed Jack Lemmon in his not just his funny roles, but his dramatic roles. But much like the great director Billy Wilder, who can not just direct funny movies but direct dramatic movies as well. Jack Lemmon was that kind of actor. He could do comedy, like here, like in The Odd Couple, or he was also very good in dramas as well. I enjoyed him in as an older actor too. First time I watched him as a kid was in his films from the 1990s, where he was much older. Movies like Grumpy Old Men or Out to Sea, and even the made-for-TV HBO version of 12 Angry Men that was released in the 1990s, which he showed a lot of great dramatic chops, as well as in Glengarry Glen Ross, 1992 film. So yeah, I very much enjoy Jack Lemmon. To me, he's one of those great movie stars of the old days. Very endearing sort of actor. Very much sort of like a Tom Hanks sort of type. The kind of actor that could pretty much do anything. Very versatile. And he's been in so many 60s comedies, movies like The Fortune Cookie. Of course, there's The Odd Couple. I can't wait to talk about that film. That's one of my all-time favorites. Under the Yum Yum Tree, Good Neighbor Sam. There are so many to talk about. Eventually, I'll get to many of these films. But yeah, The Apartment, this movie came out at a time when movies were sort of beginning it was a new decade. It came out in 1960. It was the end of the 50s, where there were sort of a lot of standard, light, fluffy, sort of romantic comedies that didn't want to even tackle anything remotely dark. So again, a lot of credit due to Billy Wilder for making a film that sort of transcended the standard romantic comedy tropes, because this very much is a romantic comedy. But once you get towards the third act, like I said, it sort of dips its toe into more sort of darker themes, but still retains the sense of being sort of lighthearted and fun, and just very well paced, very well directed, perfectly acted, and just a really great sort of love story to boot. So, and not conventional sort of romantic comedy whatsoever. Don't want to spoil it for everybody, but this is not going to be the kind of movie that has like a standard Hollywood type of ending. So if you're expecting that, don't set yourself up for that kind of thing. It is very much a movie that by the time it's over, the end conclusion feels justified, and it all sort of comes to its own, logical conclusion, like many of these old great films do. So please check this out. If you are looking for this out on streaming, it's very possible you could find this on anything from Hulu to Amazon Prime. A lot of these old films, you can find them on a lot of the old streaming services, but hard copies are out there. That's the Blu-ray. And you know what? That reminds me, for my last review, I talked about The Last House on the Left was my last video review before this one. And yeah, I forgot to show you the Blu-ray. If it's not on Amazon Prime, last time I saw this film, it was on Amazon Prime when last time I saw it on streaming. But of course, like I'm always saying, hard copies are out there. That is the hard copy Blu-ray of Last House on the Left, the 1972 original. So there you go. And thank you very much for joining me. I will continue to look at my list and see what is next and see what is in store for these film reviews. So until next time, Please like, subscribe, hit that bell, and comment, share. Let me know if you do have any favorite romantic comedies in your favorite movies list. What are they? And yeah, I like movies like The Apartment, movies like As Good as It Gets, Jerry Maguire. Uh, I am a big fan of the romantic stuff. Not so much as a younger guy, but as I got older, as I got more mature, if it was something that kind of resonated with me, you know, like a lot of John Cusack stuff. Like I'm a big fan of like High Fidelity, Grosse Point Blank, and movies like Swingers. Sort of guy, I guess, love stories. Sort of that was my way to sort of dip the toe into the romantic stuff. So let me know in the comment section what are some of your favorite romantic films. So look out for the next review, and until next time, God bless.